Authenticity. That's my word of the year, but it's much more than just a word of the year. Hi, my name's Lisbet. Welcome back to We'll Be Alright podcast. Once again, this is not edited, not scripted, 1,000% raw podcast. And the reason that I titled it We'll Be Alright is because every single one of us is going through something at this moment. Whether that seems like something that's really big or small or something that you don't really know how it's going to resolve itself, or you do and you have a game plan, whatever that may be, we're all going through something that's significant for us in our lives. And maybe at this particular moment, it doesn't feel like things are going to be okay, but I promise you, we'll be all right. So I'm excited for this podcast episode because actually, I have to be honest with you, I tried to record this twice, and both times it did not record. I think it's because the message that I was trying to say, I was trying to say things so perfectly and so well articulated that it did not sound like how I would say things. So I'm just going to be me. And hopefully this comes across someone that needs to hear this as well. But my word of the year is authenticity. And it's not the first time that I have promised myself or told myself that I want to be my most authentic, real, honest, vulnerable version of myself that I can be. However, it's the first year that I truly love myself. I know we're at the beginning of 2025, so there's a lot to come this year, but I truly feel like this is going to be, for me, in my personal life, a really good year. The last couple of years have been really difficult, and some of those challenges have been sort of having to bring myself down. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean in a way of having to rebuild myself, my self-confidence, my self-worth, my beliefs, my wants and not wants, and just who I genuinely am in this world, in this lifetime. It's been really difficult to do that. Anyone that's gone through healing journey, and I don't think we're ever going to be fully healed, by the way, but anyone who has started or has gone through healing journeys or has asked themselves these questions about life and about themselves will understand how difficult this journey is. And and because of the day and age that we live in right now, because of social media, because of celebrities and newspapers and magazines and articles and blah, 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 blah. Like, it's always been a thing where we've compared ourselves to other people. However, I think social media has just fueled that so much more. And I think social media can be a great tool to utilize, but it also can be something that truly brings you down. And sometimes because you think that you should act a certain way or be a certain way or see someone that you admire doing certain things, you feel like that's what you should be doing or that's the outfit you should wear for people to find you attractive or for people to like you, yada, yada. You end up losing who you truly are because you're trying to be other people. And this is something that I think we're all guilty of, whether we admit it to ourselves or not. We have all fallen down this traps of, okay, well, if I wear this brand and if I have this job and if I make this amount of money, then, people are going to like me, or my dream girlfriend or my dream boyfriend's going to find me attractive, or I'm finally going to get my parents' approval or whatnot. And you then are so far gone from who you truly are that at one point you're going to wake up, you're going to lay in bed, and you're going to ask yourself, who have I become? Who am I? Because you have gone so far from your authentic self that none of these external things, none of these materialistic things will ever bring you true happiness or true joy if you're not in alignment with who you truly are. If you're not living your truth and the version of yourself that you truly want to be and that you admire, you are never going to be fully happy because there's always going to be something in you that just doesn't sit right. And you can only fake it for so long. I think one of the examples, and this is going to be a small example and not as big as I could be, but I think we've all been through these, is when you really like someone, right? And let's say you really, 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 really like this guy. And he is super into baseball. He goes, yeah, I love baseball. Baseball season's my favorite. I try and go to as many games as I can. And I see the sport and blah, 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 blah. Cool. So then you go, really? Well, I love baseball. Baseball's my favorite sport. That's so funny. What a coincidence. And you go home and you know nothing about baseball, but you learn. You learn everything about baseball, how it works, what a home run is, what the players is, his favorite team, his favorite player, this history of that team. You go back to when the team was first started and created. You learn and you go to Reddit and you find fun facts that no one knows about X baseball team. And you go to it's been a year, it's been 2 years. Cool. And now you have to go to these baseball games every baseball season. And you hate baseball. You can only fake it for so long. You can only it's the same with he's really into indie or house or EDM music or whatever. I'm super into that. I love that. Like that's my favorite music. You hate that music. You think it sounds like cats or like, chalk on a whiteboard or whatever the saying is. And then you have to face the reality. You hate baseball. You hate house music. This person's not compatible with you. And all of a sudden you feel like you wasted 2 years in a relationship with someone. And oh my God, how could I? Why did that happen? I can't believe. When in reality, you were just not living your authentic self. So the energy that you were putting out, the things that you were saying that you wanted isn't who you truly are. You hate house music. You love reggaeton. You love salsa. You love pop. You don't like baseball. You love soccer. You hate baseball. Or you don't like sports, period. You think they're stupid. If you go out with that mentality of feeling like you have to shift and you have to change every single particle of yourself for someone to love you, that person is not to blame, to be honest with you, because you gave them a version of yourself that they thought was real and authentic, when in reality, you were just molding yourself into who you thought that they wanted you to be instead of just being yourself. So then a couple months, a couple years pass and you lost yourself. You lost yourself in this person and their interests. And all of a sudden, when you really want to go to Disney World, because you're a Disney adult, nothing wrong with that. He hates Disney. He doesn't want to go to that. And he's like, I can't believe you like Disney. That's so stupid. Like, remember how we made fun of that when we first got together? Yeah, well, you made fun of that. But deep down, I was cringing because I was a Disney adult. So unless you know who you truly are and unless you're living your most authentic self, the people around you are going to be different versions of who you think that you should be for them to like you, but not who you truly are. And that is so sad. And this is coming from someone that did that. I had to face my reality last year that I was not living my most authentic self. I was you. I was saying, instead of baseball, I was like, oh yeah, American football is so cool. I hate American football. First of all, why is it called football? You use your hands maybe 5 seconds of the game sorry, not your hands, your feet to kick the damn ball. See, I just don't get it. I don't like American football. I'm a sports girl. I love soccer, football, actual football, basketball. I love tennis. I love F1. Yes, give me all of that. Can't do baseball. I don't like it. Okay. House music. Unz, unz. Some of it I like, but I just don't get it. I understand the art behind it, and that's what I respect. I respect that. I respect the artistry. I just don't personally like it. But I would go and meet these new group of friends or meet these new people that I was dating or whatever. And I felt like I had to completely shift who I was because I didn't feel like I was good enough. I didn't think that I was valuable enough, that what I was bringing was enough, that me being me was enough for someone to truly like me and care about me. I wasn't living my most authentic self. And that led me to being in a relationship with someone and then telling me, I have no idea who you are and who you've become. I was becoming who I genuinely was. And I can't blame that person for feeling that way because for a long time, for most of my relationship with that person, I was not my most authentic self. I didn't even know who my authentic self was. And that continued on for a couple of years, right? And then last year I went to therapy again. Love therapy. Shout out therapy. And I was in my therapy session and I realized that there was this child version of myself that was bullied for being taller than other girls and being chubbier than other girls and liking sports when other girls didn't like that. And at a very, very young age, when I wore my heart on my sleeve, when I was genuinely who I was, and I didn't feel that love or that appreciation back to me, my brain said, oh, well, that you're just not, you who you truly are isn't good enough. You need to change. So then I went out and I would just shift and morph myself with different groups of friends, with different people around me into who I thought that I should be for them to like me because I was convinced that I was not good enough. And it wasn't until I was 24 years old that I had to face the truth and that I had to have this very tough conversation with my own self, with this inner child version of me and say, you are enough and you are okay and you are worthy and you don't have to go out of your way to be someone you're not to be loved. Either people love you for who you are or they're just not your people, and that is okay. It's good that you don't fit in everywhere you go because there's a specific group of individuals, of people that are waiting for you to be your most authentic, most real version of yourself, for them to feel seen, for them to feel appreciated, for them to feel connected to someone. But unless you are your most authentic version of yourself, you will never meet those people because you will constantly be morphing yourself into someone that you're not. And let me tell you, that one hurt. That one hurt. And last year was a year of I think every year is a year of self-growth, but last year was a year that I asked myself a ton of tough questions. What do I like? What don't I like? Am I being my most authentic self with this person? Have I said I like something to this person that they like, but I don't really like? Am I having genuine conversations? Am I really speaking my mind, or am I going in my head and saying, okay, this is what they said, this is what I think that they want to hear, so this is what I should say, this is how I should say it, or am I just speaking my mind? And it was very eye-opening to realize that not every single conversation and every single interaction that I was having with people, I was being my most authentic self. And I would ask myself, why? Is it that you're not comfortable enough with this person? Is it that you don't think this person will truly like who you are? And it's not about there's something wrong with me. I had to really step away from that and realize there's nothing wrong with you. You were just a child who was hurt. And now you're an adult and you need to face the realities. You need to understand that you cannot be going back to this childhood version of yourself. You need to step up and tell her that she is okay, but also to realize when certain groups of people or individual or situations are for you and when they're simply not, and not forcing yourself to fit into an environment that you were never meant to fit into. So that meant letting go of friendships, letting go of certain groups of people, stop hanging out and doing certain activities that I just didn't really freaking like. and just spend time with myself. Just ask myself basic questions about, okay, I've been sober for 4 years now. I don't like to drink. I'm not a club girl. I'm not going to go to the club. I don't like staying up late. If you invite me to something and it's after 9 p.m., unless I like really love you or care about you and want to spend time with you, I will most likely probably not go to that because I'm in my PJs. I did my skincare already. I love that. Okay. I'm a morning owl. Morning owl? I'm a morning person, not a night owl. And digging into my beliefs and into, I'm a very spiritual person. I believe in God. So I realized, okay, I don't, I cannot be, not, I don't think, see, that's where I was. I cannot be with someone that doesn't believe in God or believe in something, you know, because when life gets tough, when things get dark, when my depression gets heavy, when my mental illnesses kind of kick in and I go in waves, that is the thing I turn to. That is my anchor. That is what helps me get out of that dark place that my mind sometimes goes to, right? If you don't believe in something, that's okay. That's you have every right to. That's another thing I realized when I was living in my authenticity is when I could realize when people were truly being their authentic self and when they weren't being their authentic self. And then the other thing I realized is that no one owes you anything. No one owes you anything. And it's up to you whether you want to accept how people are and continue being in that relationship or continue being friends with them or not. You cannot stay in a place or stay with someone or stay in a friendship just because you think, oh, well, after a little bit they'll change or this or that or whatever. People are who they are. Do I think that there's certain habits and things that we do that can change, that can get better? 1,000%. But you cannot be with someone or stay in a friendship or a relationship because you're dating the potential that someone has. That's you not being authentic. And authenticity is really hard, especially in this day and age. It's very difficult. And it's not something that you just wake up one day and you go, okay, I'm just going to be myself. From this day forward, I'm going to be myself. No, it's challenging. It's challenging, especially when you've done it from a place of thinking that you have to do this to protect yourself. So last year was a lot of rebuilding my confidence in my professional life and my personal life and practicing what I was preaching. And that meant going into conversations and asking myself, am I being my authentic self right now? Why am I? Why am I not? What do I feel is holding me back from being my authentic self? What is scaring me? And a lot of that had to do with healing. A lot of it had to do with my trauma. And it's difficult because going back into your childhood or into your adolescencia, which I don't know, so why can't I say that in English? Into your teen years and realizing some of the trauma that you held, it hurts. But the other thing that I realized is that I am an adult and I cannot continue to live in the fears of my childhood or my teen years. I could not continue to play this victim card of, well, I was bullied and it hurt my feelings. And yes, that's valid. Yes, you did feel that way. Yes, that was not okay. But you cannot continue to use that as your reasoning as to not heal and not put in the work and not realize that those people were also just children. They were just kids. Maybe kids that their parents weren't around as often. Maybe kids that were holding in so much anger they didn't know how to release that in a proper way because you're freaking kids, right? Was it okay? No. But who the heck am I to judge and to hold this anger and then let it control and take over so much of my life? And also to the point where I do not have genuine conversations with people. And then I'm kind of continuing a pattern. And I'm depriving people of who I genuinely am. So either A, I'm not allowing myself to really meet people that would care about me and that I would have a long-term lasting relationship or friendship with. But B, I'm also allowing myself to stay in environments that aren't truly the best for me. So I forgave. I genuinely forgave. I put in my adult hat and I spoke with my younger self and I said, you were a kid, you were hurt. And maybe you hurt other people and don't realize, the part that you played in their story, which hopefully I didn't. But they were kids too. And I had this and this was just in one, this was like multiple times going back to this childhood version of myself and just talking to her and helping her see how things were okay. And like, look all the stuff that you've done. Look at everything you've accomplished. That was part of your story. That is what's going to help you connect with your people, with your community, with other humans. Those aspects of who you are, but that cannot continue to control the trajectory of your life. And finding my most authentic self went back to healing my childhood self, and also going back to the childhood things that I liked. I love to sing. I love to dance. Am I the greatest at it? No, but I love that. I love to draw. I love to write. I love the color pink. It's my favorite color. Now I'm surrounded by pink everywhere. But it was to admit to myself, I love sports. I'm a sports girl. I love it. I'm a girly girl as well. And all of these things that I had taken away from myself because girls shouldn't like sports and girls shouldn't like the color pink and it's not attractive. All these things that I had grilled into my head that no one else had put there except myself. I had to go in and just fucking push that shit down and stop playing the victim card with myself. That's hard. Because I realized that I was part of the problem. Me. And the only person that can get me out of that is myself. So then ending 2024, I was really proud because interactions that I would have normally not wanted to be myself or whatever, I was not doing that anymore. Old patterns that I was used to doing, I shifted and got away from that. I set boundaries. I set clear intentions. I set clear goals. I allowed myself to rediscover the things that I was passionate about, got back into running. That's fun. Learned about accepting my body as well, which is easier said than done. And that's another podcast episode for another day. Stopped being so hard on myself as well, because yes, I needed to go back and tell myself like, you're okay. And like all these truths, but also realize that sometimes I'm way too hard on myself and I beat myself down more than anyone else is doing at that given moment. And that is not cool because life and the world brings you down enough and you should not be adding to that. You should not be contributing to this difficult world as it is already by you being mean to yourself. So learning how to talk to myself correctly and changing the way that I think about things and shifting conversations of my own internal dialogues. I didn't know if that was working or not, to be honest with you. Because a lot of that work is done in silence. A lot of that work is done through journaling, which I have my journal right in front of me. A lot of that work is just things that you do day by day, little by little, in hopes that it's gonna go somewhere positive, but you don't really know because you're just working at it and you're rebuilding and you're working and you're working. It's kind of like building a house, honestly, from scratch, and then you see the vision, right? I'm like, okay, well, the bathroom's gonna go here, the living room's gonna go here, fireplace, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes you just kind of look at it and you say, this is just wood and walls, and I don't know if this is gonna look good, you guys. And then all of a sudden you come to like the end of the project and the house is almost built and the walls are up and things have a shape to it and there's actual rooms, not just the idea of a room, and you say to yourself, wow, okay, wait, I think this is gonna look really good. That's where I got to. I was having a conversation with an old ex of mine, and I realized how far I come from the girl he knew 7, 8 years ago. And I was so proud of myself because for the first time, I said out loud, I really love myself and I love who I've become and I think I'm a great person. And I didn't just say that as an affirmation. I meant that shit. I said it with my full heart. And I afterwards looked back at the conversation and I was shocked. I was looking at my house and I realized how beautiful it was going to turn out. The shape was there, the walls were there. There's a couple things that I'm still piecing together now. I think the house is built, but it's now going and decorating the house inside. But the house is built and the structure looks beautiful and the house is beautiful. I realized I had rebuilt myself. And the girl that years ago, and specifically 1 year ago, was, I don't know how this is gonna look. I don't know if this is gonna look nice. Oh boy. But I kept showing up. I kept nailing stuff into the house. I kept putting in the work. I kept sweating and grinding in a good way and just committing to the vision and to this person that I want it to be. And while sometimes I didn't believe it and I had to fake it and I had to tell myself, you're beautiful, you're loved. Well, I didn't fully believe that, which is like telling myself, this house is going to look so nice. It's going to look absolutely stunning. I love it when I didn't really love it. All of those things, when I didn't believe it, all of a sudden, this event and a couple of events happened in that same span. Honestly, January has been an insane month for me, but literally all of January has just been, whoa, growth. But not just growth, but like seeing my growth and seeing how things are just happened. Dang, wow. So I was put in these multiple circumstances and events that forced me to actually practice what I was preaching and actually face the work that I was doing. And I realized I had done it for the first time in my life. I was my authentic self. I genuinely loved myself. I thought I was a great person. I know that I'm a great person. And I said that to another human being and genuinely meant it. It wasn't an affirmation. It wasn't me trying to fake it. It wasn't me trying to get approval from them or for them to tell me and confirm, yeah, you're great and you're blah, blah, blah. No, it was not that at all. It was just me saying, I am a great person and I'm so loved and I genuinely love myself. There was no doubt in my body, in my brain, in my soul, in my spirit that wasn't the truth. And then that just skyrocketed everything into me, just realizing how much power I hold and how much power I was allowing other people to have over my life and how that wasn't okay. It was so cool to have that moment. And I'm so grateful to the universe and to God to put me in those circumstances where it really tests you and it goes, okay, you've done all this work in secret and hiding. You're building this and you're not telling anyone you're building this house and you're doing it from scratch, but it's time to show people the house. It's time to let people in. It's time to get criticized. It's time to, see what's going on. And then it puts you in the situations. And before I had failed, because I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm perfect. I did not fail before. I failed so many times. Ooh, if I tell you. But I continued to show up, right? The house, a couple pieces fell, rebuilt. I couldn't find a specific wood I wanted. Okay, well, we got to shift again. All these things that were happening. I failed a lot of times. I felt like giving up many times. At sometimes, I even left the house as it was. I am done with you. I do not want it anymore. And then I would come back and I'd be like, okay, I didn't mean it. I'm back. And it just clicks. At one point, it just clicks. Something just makes sense. And everything, and it did. It made sense. And for the first time, I didn't fail. I feel as if there's many more things that I will like to improve on and like to be better at? Yes. And I realize as well, that is never going to end. But the thing that I am the most proud of is that I can sit here with you today and tell you that right now, in this moment, I am being my most authentic self. This is me. This is who I am. This is the way I talk. This is the way I present myself. Am I sometimes a little crazier? Yes. But this is who I genuinely am. These are the conversations I have with people that I fully trust, that I absolutely love. These are conversations that my inner circles of people that know me, I would have with them. I would talk to them like this. This is my most authentic self. If you were to meet me right now or randomly one of these days and we start chatting, this is how we're going to talk. And that wasn't always the case. And that is what I'm most proud of. And that's why, while some other years I've said, I'm going to be my most authentic self, authenticity. This is the first year where I can fully step in and tell you, this is my authentic year. This is who I am because I finally love who I am. I finally know who I am. I am proud of who I am. Of all the versions of me, of the inner child that was hurt, of the teenager, of the adult version, I am proud of every single thing that has led me here. Actually, there's this journal I have. It's called Q&A. And it's a question a day, and it's 365 questions. And every year, so this journal's like 5 years. So every day you get a different question, and then you answer that same question the following year. Today's question of the day, ironically enough, was, I'm actually going to look it up to you because this might be a good one for you guys to journal. What do you want to forget? And this is what I put for 2025. I don't know if anything, because everything has made/shaped me into the person I am today. And that is the most authentic answer I could give. I was genuinely trying really hard. I was like, well, what do I want to forget? Maybe, let me see. And I genuinely told myself, I don't want to forget anything, because everything that has happened in my life has shaped me into the person that I am today. And the thing about that is that I have gone back and given love, time, space, and energy to that inner child to be hurt, to be sad, to be upset, to be angry, to be mad, and then have empathy with her, have love with her, but also have this adult conversation of, okay, but you're not in that circumstance anymore. You're not in that situation anymore. This is where you are. You are safe. You are loved. You are protected. Everything's okay. You are okay. And then gone back to the teenage version of myself, listen to her rant and scream at me and be angry and be a teenager. And oh my gosh, teenagers are scary, scary people. And I just allowed her to just be angry. And then do the same thing I did with my inner child. But never once did I tell my inner child or inner teenager, you're wrong, you shouldn't feel that way. Because that's what I was told my entire childhood and my entire teenage years. I said, no, you're valid for the things that you feel. You're valid for for this, for that, or whatever circumstance or X, Y, and Z, but helped them heal, helped them learn to be okay, helped them realize that everything is okay and that they are okay. And that allowed this adult version of myself to love myself because I didn't feel like I had to change things about my childhood or fake things about my childhood or pretend that things didn't happen. I said, no, those things happened. Those feelings happened. That's valid. And that shaped me into who I am today. Same with my inner teenager. Nope, that's valid. That happened, blah, blah, blah. All these things, right? But for the first time in my life last year, I didn't feel like I had to change who I was. This is who I am. Would I like to improve and get better at having better communication or at one of my biggest goals this year is my fitness journey. I started really committing to that last year and I stick to it. I was so committed. I was so proud of myself because it was the most committed I've been to working out, but it was the most genuine form of working out that I did. I focused on mat Pilates and walking every day because that's how I enjoyed to move my body. I didn't force myself to put myself into an environment that I didn't fully love and that I couldn't be my most authentic self, aka the gym. Slowly coming back to that. That's another story for another day, another podcast episode, fitness journey. We'll do that one actually. That's a fun one. But in 2024, that's not what I needed. What I needed was my at-home mat Pilates workouts, my daily walks with myself or my mom or my sister, and to move my body in a way that felt true to me at that given moment. And that's what I needed. And now I'm stepping into another level. So I'm improving and I'm adding to that, right? But I didn't feel like I had to go back and change everything about myself and tell myself none of that is okay. And that allowed me to be this, to be just me. This is who I am. My childhood traumas, my experiences, the things I went through, the things that I believe in, the things that I don't believe in, that's who I am. And when I present myself to someone and someone doesn't like that about me, someone doesn't accept that about me, I don't say there's something wrong with them because I am wonderful. I do think I'm wonderful, but I don't think there's something wrong with them. I just don't think that we're compatible, and that's okay. So you know what we do? We walk away respectfully, not in an angry way or holding any resentment. I just go, well, that person wasn't for me. Next. And there's billions of people in this world. So that might not be your person. That doesn't mean that your person is not there. I mean that romantically. I mean that in friendships. I mean that however you want to take it. And once I started to realize that there doesn't have to be anything wrong with people for them to not like me. It's just we're not vibing. We're not in the same vibrational frequency. We don't think alike. And that's great because then they can go on and meet people that do vibe with them, that they love and have long-lasting friendships or relationships with. And I can go in and find my people instead of staying stuck in an environment that's not going to be the best for me and that's not going to allow me to thrive or be my most authentic self. So I stopped putting myself in environments that I didn't want to be a part of. I stopped hanging out with people that I just didn't really want to hang out with. And I just started to just be me. And that leads us to here, to today. And I'm really proud of who I am. I'm really proud of the work that I've done. I'm really proud of the time that I've spent in therapy, the time that I've spent journaling, the crying sessions that I've had, the real conversations I've had with my mom or my sister. And I'm really proud of just stepping into this is how I feel. And you cannot tell me how to feel. You cannot tell me how I should think of a situation. No, this is how I feel. We can talk about it. We can talk through it. We can, debrief each other or have, conversations about how you felt about something or how I felt something was but you had how I felt about something. But no individual has a right to tell you how you should feel or shouldn't feel about something or how your thoughts should be about something. We should all accept people for who they are and then ask ourselves, is this someone that I want to have a long-term friendship or relationship with? Is this something that I can accept, or is it something that I cannot accept? And allow people to be their most authentic selves. Because if you don't, then the pattern just repeats. So that's my word of the year, authenticity. But truly, the first year that I can say that I'm being authentic to me and to what I love. And rediscovering things that I didn't know I loved. Rediscovering things I loved and discovering new things I didn't know I loved. And being a little bit more open-minded as well, not being so, ugh, no, I could never. Feel free to steal my word. I hope that this episode was enjoyable. I hope you liked it. And I hope that I found someone that needed to hear these things and needed to have that validation. And just know that I'm here right now and I'm telling you that this is my most authentic self, but that did not come easy. It took years of hard work. But if I can do it, why can't you? That's been my other thing. If I'm seeing someone that has the life or that has things that I want, I don't hold jealousy anymore. It's a train of thought that I have to actively do, but I tell myself, wow, thank you, universe, for showing me that I can also do that. I can also have that. I can also achieve that. Because that person's probably put in a ton of work or whatever. So I now appreciate humans so much more than I used to. Being human is really hard, honestly. So hold a little bit more empathy for yourself. Be a little bit more kind. Hug yourself, literally. And also just remember that you are just human. You're living this life for the first time as well. You're not perfect. You're going to make mistakes. The important thing is that you learn from those mistakes and that every step of the way, you're kind to yourself, you're kind to other human beings, and you try your best. That's it. That's all we can do. Thank you so much. I truly enjoyed this chat. I enjoyed this conversation. And I hope to see you back for the next one, which I'm not sure what it's going to be yet. Okay. Adios. Bye.